think my plan on keeping the 300 mounts in situ has been scuppered. Turbo mount. I think by the time that's sitting on the mounts, we're not going to have enough room for the downpipe. So we either chop the mounts off or we modify the downpipe. I think that's going to have to be a last thing. I think we're just going to have to get it on its mounts and see. Don't know. Right, so water pump change. So to get the water pump housing off, you've got to first remove the, what's the word? Spinning filter, can't think of the word. You need to take off the normal oil filter, which I've done from under there. And then there's 3 bolts you see next to the O-ring. Here you've got one there, and one there. And then you can get to the water pump housing. So let's whip that off. Well, I think that definitely needed doing. Look at the state of it. Ugh. So we'll clean all that up in there because it runs off the back of the power steering pump. So we'll clean all that up and then go to refit the new one. There we go, old versus new. I think we definitely needed it doing, especially with no wings and no oil or anything in the engine. It made life a lot easier. So I'm just going to run a bead of sealant around all those. I know they've got gaskets in, but just to be sure. And then I'll bolt that all back in. Right, so that's all back together with a bit of sealant and all tightened up, and the oil filter's back on. So we are good to go in that respect. So let's find something else to do. Right, so the cleaned and repainted box is there. I've got the new matrix and I've put foam tape around it, as you can see. Some under there and some at the bottom that goes all the way around. I've also put some just inside the lid, so when that all pushes down and gets riveted back on, this won't run about, because obviously you probably saw in the previous video when I took it apart, it rattled around like anything. So I'll get all this put back together and get it riveted, and then I'll show you once it's done. And there it is, all back together. I use self-tappers instead of rivets, so it can easily come apart again if need be. So yeah, so we've got the new matrix. Doesn't move at all. Obviously that's the actual box moving, but that is solid in there now. So that's ready to go back on. Another little job ticked off. Right, so a mixture of, I just got to turn that around a bit, a mixture of the Discovery vacuum pipe on the alternator and the one I had for the Defender. We just couldn't get it out, so I just had to chop it very slightly. So I've sealed it and put a hose clip around it. So we've now got vacuum. I've got a spare one here, so I need to block that off or use it for something else. We have removed the EGR vacuum manifold. I just need to check where that goes, as well as the EGR manifold. EGR valve, and then see whether we need to connect anything else up. I've cleaned the start motor up. As you can see, I've cleaned where the bolts bolt, so we get a good earth, and cleaned up the starter, and also cleaned up the thread and the base and the underneath of the nut as well. So we should get a good connection. Yeah, good connection on that. So I'm going to whack the starter motor in now. That's another job ticked off. Well, I've had a little tinker today. I've run the looms through. This one's out the door at the minute because it goes back on itself if it goes through that hole, and the other one's through there. I thought I'd run it through and then try and connect things up, and then as soon as the engine mounts are done, I can start putting power to things and testing. But there's so many earth points on this loom. Trying to earth them all together would be a bit of a nightmare. So I think I'm just going to have to commit and start fitting the loom properly. And I think I have decided to cut the bulkhead as opposed to going through there, just because of the way the loom runs. I have cut out some templates. That's the shape of the bungs. So I think I'm going to do it through here. And on the other side, over here somewhere, I need to check where the heater sits. And then I'm going to start running the looms properly and finding earth points etc. Because, as I say, I think if I test it in situ, trying to find all the earths and trying to get them on an earth will be a nightmare. I think it's going to be better just to run it. I mean, worst case, if this loom doesn't work and I have to get another Discovery loom, at least the bungs will still be the same, so that won't be any different. I'll just have to cut bits out as I go, like test it and cut bits out as I go. And if it all goes to pot and I have to put a Defender loom in, I can always, you know, seal some plates over the top. I don't know. I just think I'm gonna have to do it that way. Because I say there's just too much loom. Too many plugs, too many earth points. I think I'm just gonna have to, you know, commit and go for it and sort it out from there. So yeah, that'll be a job for next week, I think. Right, it's Friday afternoon. I'm going home. I'll tackle this after the weekend. Well, it's Monday morning. We're back in the workshop, and from the templates we made of the bungs, obviously I know we could have used what was cut out of there, but it was trimmed a bit more, so not possible. So now that's cut out, we've made another template of what the actual hole needs to be, and then transferred that onto there. So as you can see, the bung will go there. So now it's the time to cut it out. Scary, but here we go. Right, well, that one's in. I have made a bit of a boo-boo though. I cut round the outside of the line instead of the inside, so it's slightly too big. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet, but yes, not very good by me. So I'll make sure the other side is a lot better, but at least it comes out here anyway, so we're progressing. Right, this one's much better. I cut it in the right place and it is now well in there. So that's the looms through. I've just got to sort out that other one. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. Whether I make another plate, the right size, and sandwich it in there, I don't know. Not quite sure. Maybe like sandwich it in from the back, put some seal around it, and yeah, go from the back. Like this common old thing, measure twice, cut once. I measured half a time and cut once, so yeah. But this one's perfect. Anyway, right, let's start working out the rest of it. Well, we've had that one back out and painted all around it and now put back in and connected bits up. So we've obviously, when the wings go on, then we can make a mount for the fuse box and the ECU. We need to do something with that because really we don't want that out to the elements. Obviously all the lighting loom comes down there. This side, where I mucked up earlier, I made a plate with the right size hole in and then sealed that to the inside. So now we've got a tight, weather tight seal. That's all been painted up. You can't even see the plate. Believe it or not, there is a bit there that's painted the same colour as the bulkhead. So you shouldn't be able to see that. It's all done inside as well. And then that all comes out down for this lighting loom and whatever was in the passenger side wheel arch of the disco. So we need to start finding some earth points for this. I'm guessing I probably can't do that really until the wings are on, but I would like to try and make these independent from the wings as much as they're in like holders and they can be bolted on. I don't want them permanently attached in some way to the wing, because obviously if the wing needs to come off, you need to make sure you can get the loom out. So I need to make some kind of track for that if I can. So I will probably leave this for tonight and then I will start working on the inside and running some looms inside. Let me just show you in there at the moment. I mean, you can't really see much apart from a million wires, but basically it goes through there, as you can see. That one goes through underneath the wiper motor. Torch is still over there. So it's a matter of binding all these wires up now and trying to put them somewhere just temporarily, even if they're cable tied to the dash holder, just so we can work out where things go. And then obviously once the mounts are on, we can get some electrics tested. So I think that'll do for tonight. I will come back tomorrow and have a fresh face, and yeah, we will we'll get some more wires run. Right, in the black hole that is the back, I've run the rear loom. It's up there at the moment and it runs nicely behind the panels. So I'll be able to obviously take the panels off, neatly wrap them and mount them on the rail behind so you won't see them. Obviously I've just run it across loosely now while we test everything. This has all got to be sorted out somewhere. Then the rear light looms are there. And then over this side, again, you've got rear light looms, tow bar plug somewhere there. And then this is the rear boot loom that goes in the boot door. We might need some of those, i.e. heated screen and stuff, if we have that in the future. But for now, we'll just roll all that up and again, stick it behind the panels. So yeah, it should work. I've got to redo all the speaker wires and stuff while we're all apart. I'll do all that. And then I've had a little move about in the front. So the loom for the rear comes down the pillar. Obviously I've just cable tied it there for now and plugged it all in. I've obviously taped up the bits I've cut off. We've got the BCU. Now that can probably mount up here on the top of the footwell. Needs to try and keep it dry, obviously. I don't plan on going up to the dashboard in water, so it should be all right up there. We've got, what's this one? This is the heated seats and window switches, I believe. Heated seat switch, passenger. Oh no, the windows are up there because I moved them off the loom, didn't I? I took them out of this one. And moved them up so I could have them on the dashboard. We've got the gearbox loom hanging down there. That's all got to be wired and connected up. The fuse box is there. On the disco, it's to the right of the column. Obviously, I'll see if I can mount it here when we make a dashboard. That one obviously goes out there. What I'll probably try and do is feed a bit more of this out so there's more outside than there is in. And then the same on the other side. Oh, I've moved it as well, so I've got more room to get around. So yeah, I'll try and pull some more of this out through the grommet to give us a bit more room in the engine bay. But until, I'll probably leave it all and as it is, get the thing running and testing everything before I start moving wires and fixing them properly. Obviously this fuse box has got to be mounted up on the wing, as has the ECU somewhere. We might see if we can get like a waterproof box and put some grommets and see if we can put that away. And then obviously this one here goes off. We've got earths, we've got the driver's door loom from the Disco 2. Obviously if we have electric windows and stuff, we'll want that somewhere. This, I can't quite remember what that is. There's no tag on it, but I'm sure I can find it. Earths, we've got to find an earth point. And then we've got the brake light switch, which we can connect up to here once we've got power. Maybe even get that one to fit, extend these wires. Then we've got the throttle pedal plug. That's got to go obviously down to the throttle pedal. So I'm not fixing anything. I'm just using cable ties until we've got everything plugged in. And then this is the fuel pump and fuel tank loom. Obviously it's far too long. I need to cut it all down because the tank is under here. So again, I'm not going to do that until we're in a position to try it. Yeah, so we've just got to now go around, find the earths and get them connected up somewhere just so we can test it. Yeah, it's all a mess, but we'll get there. Time for a cup of tea and some lunch, and then we'll come back to it. So I've gone round the car and I have connected earths where I found them and wrote them down. So once live goes to it, I can then check and make sure they're getting a good earth. The main engine positive is still to do. Sorry, engine negative is still to do. So yeah, so now I'm pretty much ready to put live to it, but I don't want to yet really until the engine mounts are done. So I suppose I could put live to it and power up the rest of the electrical connections and test things, I suppose. I'll have a cup of tea and debate on that. I wanted to really wait until the engine mount's done, but I don't know when they're going to get done. So I haven't got to connect the starter circuit or anything like that. I can literally power up the fuse box and see if things work, I suppose. Maybe. We've put power to it. Clock works. We've got the flashing light on the dashboard for the immobiliser. Right, let's find the immobiliser key and flick the ignition. Right, so we've put some lights in this system. So we've got headlights, side lights, indicators. We've got the fuse box powered up. We've got the column that I took out the other disco. I couldn't get the key to turn. Luckily I have one on the shelf with a key. So we've got that in there and the key turns. We've got everything connected in there. We've got some rear lights in here. Typically, I don't know why, I've only got one of these. I can't find a bulb holder suitable. So we've got one side. We've got obviously the top tail light and the top tail light. So the immobiliser wouldn't switch off. The light on the dashboard, which is probably, no, it's not flashing at the moment, but it will, was flashing, saying it was immobilised. I couldn't get it off. So I found the receiver on the loom, which is here. Oh, here, and noticed it had an earth track in it, so it needs to be earth. So I run a wire up to the earth, and now the immobiliser goes off. So, turn the key. There we go, we get dash lights. Obviously we're gonna have loads of dash lights at the minute because we haven't got things connected, so we can pull them bulbs like the ace and all that malarkey, traction control, yada, yada, yada. Mileage is correct. Obviously haven't got the fuel tank connected yet, so it won't know the fuel. So, side lights. One over there, that bulb, well, hasn't got a bulb in, as you can see, but I'm sure that'll work. That's probably one way to test. Hang on, take this indicator bulb out and put this in here. Hang on. There we go, so that one works. So we'll have that back out, put that back in the indicator. So, rear lights. Got tail light up there, tail light up there. Now the brake light's also on because of the brake switch. Obviously that bulb is gone. I will check that, but at least I know I've got brakes. The brake light switch is here. So if we turn the side lights off, we've got brake over there. If I press the switch, off it goes. So we've got brake lights. So that's good. So main beam. There we go, we've got main beam. Can we flash the lights? Oh. Main beam. Ah, headlights are on apparently. Turn them off, there we go. So we've got low beam, headlights on. Obviously the bulbs are a bit, that one's working, but that one's not, so it's obviously just a bulb. Yeah, so I can't test wipers and stuff yet because I haven't plugged that in. But we've got lights. Oh, and there's one other thing to check. Hang on, let me turn those off. Where is it? There. Hazard lights. Well, it's flashing a bit fast because we've got two there. We've got two there. We've got one there. Obviously, we haven't got that other one plugged in. So, we know we've got hazard lights. So, I think that's a marginal success. I'll start looking through some other bits now and see what I can find that works. Right, so that's the gearbox done with MTF94. Ashcroft State MTF 94 or ATF Dextron 3. I've had better results with MTF before, so I've gone with that. I've only managed to get 2.4 litres in, and the fill is 2.7, so I don't know if it's because the engine's a bit lower and therefore the drain plug will be a bit higher, like tilted wise, so you might better get a bit more in, but I'll double check it once the engine's in the right place. So next we will move on to the transfer box, which is EP8090. Right, well, capacity according to the old interwebs is 8.2 litres from empty, and obviously we've had this completely empty. So I've put 7 back in for now, and then once it fires up, we'll double check. Now also, you saw, well, you didn't really see me because I couldn't really show you, but 8090 GL4 in the transfer box. 2.3 litres, I think. But obviously, fill it, and when it starts pouring out the fill hole, you're pretty much there. So, I think we're all fluided up for now. It's just a matter of now waiting for the engine mounts. I am tempted to wire it all up and see if it will start while it's on the ratchet strap. Move the ratchet strap to the sump as opposed to the pulley, but I don't know. I suppose it all depends on when I can get my man here to weld it. But for now, that is all.